now tuned into The Truth with G. Inspire, educate, and uplift. If you can't handle the truth, this ain't the show for you. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So sit back, relax, and buckle up and enjoy this ride.
The Truth with G. The Truth with G. The Truth with G. All right, welcome back to the show. You're listening to The Truth with G on WPMM Internet Radio. I am your boy, Gerald Graham. You know me as G. Once again, we are back to talk about the issues that matter to you and your community. Hope all is well. Hope everybody's doing well today. It is Monday. We are back on the grind. If you're one of those people that was fortunate enough to be off the weekend, we are now back on the grind. It is Monday, the start of a week. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you had a great start of your week. I know the weather on yesterday in the Panhandle was pretty nice. On Sunday, it was a nice day out. Saturday, I think we had can't remember Saturday. I think we had some rain on Saturday. But Sunday turned out to be a very nice day. So I hope you was able to get out and do some things outside and, enjoy the nice weather. We're coming up on summertime, and the heat will be amongst us, especially with climate control going on. It's going to be a hot one. So anyway, I want to thank you for joining me right here on WPMM Radio. Well, we are here every Monday, Thursday, 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on The Truth with G. Good evening, Ms. Rivers. Ms. Rivers has joined us on Facebook. We are live on Facebook as well as WPMM. And WPMM is where we play more music. WPMM, we are a internet radio station where we play the best R&B, neo soul, talk, independent hip hop, and old school music. You can listen from the website at WPMMradio.com. Or you can go to the Google Play Store or the Apple Store and download the app. It's a free app to listen to the show. Listen to WPMM as well. And just go download that app. And you can take us anywhere you want to go, anywhere around the world. Anywhere you can get an internet connection, you can get WPMM. Also, if you have someone who's not computer savvy, just text them WPMMradio.com. Just put that in the message field. All they have to do is click on it, hit play, and they can also listen to the show as well. And let's go ahead and do this as well. The views and opinions expressed by individual radio hosts and guests are of their own and does not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of WPMM Radio. WPMM does not intend to malign with any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, or anyone or anything. All right, now that we have that out the way. It is Monday once again. Been a lot of stuff going on last few days. I was on last Monday. Wasn't able to get on Thursday. I'm back to my early days when I was on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But wasn't able to get on Thursday, and that was after after Super Tuesday, after the primary. So I hadn't talked to you on the radio. I did do a live at some point, I think one morning. I did my morning chronicles, and we talked about the State of the Union address. I want to talk about that today. I also want to talk about a couple other things. Talk about the Pensacola. Talk about Pensacola. Apparently we had another homicide that we registered on the books in Pensacola, which is I've been talking about it ever since I've been on the air. Ever since I've been doing this show, I've been talking about the local violence that we have, and it's just not getting any better. If anything, it's getting worse, and that's a problem. And we know it's a problem. However, we have to collectively come up with a solution as to what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, to try to curb some of this senseless violence that we are having. And I apologize. I thought I had the actual story, but I don't have the story. My apologies. But young man was found. I think he's 25 years old. He was found responsive, and subsequently he was pronounced dead. And the information that I saw, they had initially called it, they was thinking that it was a overdose. And then, obviously with viewing, actually, moving the body, viewing the body, they found out that it was a trauma, something to the chest. And I have not seen, and again, I don't have the story, but I have not seen if they saying it's a gunshot wound or if it's a stab wound or if it's some other type of wound. But it was deemed to be some type of trauma to the chest, which may have been the cause of death. So that investigation is underway to find out who this individual, who the killer of this individual is. And the thing is with Pensacola right now, and it's a sad thing to say and sad thing to even have to, report on, but there are so many unsolved homicides in Pensacola, and the police can only do so much. And I know people always want to. I'm one of those people. I'll be honest with you. Y'all know I'm not a fan of law enforcement because of some of the idiots they have on the police departments, and sheriff departments across the nation. So I'm not a big fan of police officers, period, particularly with the way that they treat black people. But however, the police is supposed to be there to protect and serve. And in the cases where we're doing damage to ourselves, and then we blame the police because the police wasn't there to stop it, it's kind of asinine. It's kind of a idiotic type of thing to say, or even think, to have that type of mentality, because the police cannot stop a crime unless they have information that a crime is going to be committed. Now, if they go through their intelligence, whatnot, and they find that there's a credible threat somewhere and somebody is going to do somebody bodily harm or whatever, they will intervene and they will investigate and try to stop that particular crime from happening. But if the police have no knowledge of a crime that is about to be committed, they can only respond. They can only respond. And the response is after the crime has been committed. So can't keep blaming the police. There was no police here. There was no police there. Police department only have so many officers, if you will, deputies, if you're talking sheriff department. They can't be everywhere at all times. So therefore, they can't predict and they can't stop a crime until they can only react to a crime. And their reaction is going to be investigation. Find out what the crime is, find out who did it, find out who saw it, get all that information, and then pass it on. Mr. Tommy Gunn, what's going on, Mr. Tommy? Good to see you on here tonight, buddy. Good to see you. But this particular young man, again, I hadn't seen the anything other than the initial report of the body being found. Apparently that body has been identified. There's been information going across. I don't know if it's been released officially through the authorities, if you will, but the information on Facebook and whatnot, people have started posting the individual's name and things of that nature, which I'm not going to put it out there unless it's an official act, if you will. So, out of respect for the privacy of the family, out of respect for the investigation itself. I will only release what is official. That's just the way I wrote. But anyway, we have to come up with something. We have to do something to get rid of this stench that we have in our community, and this stench called violence, unnecessary violence. And I'm not saying we don't have any idiots that are old heads, but for the most part, all these violent crimes are taking place by our young people, and the victims of this violence is also young people. You know, again, it's not just strictly young people, because we have old heads that are idiots that are still out there committing unnecessary crimes or whatnot, violent crimes. And we still have older people that are falling victim to the crime. So I talk about it all the time. I don't think there's been a show that I've done lately that I haven't mentioned the violence in our community. And you know, and I know I talk about it, but we need to take action. But everybody has a role. Everybody has a role to play. Just like you know, I hate to use sports analogies or whatnot, but you know, even in a sport, you know, for instance, a game of football, you put 11 people on the field. On one side of the ball, you got 11 people on the field. All 11 people have a different role to play. Everybody on that field does, you know, you don't find two people that do the same thing. Everybody, all 11 does something different. And even though you have 11 people doing something different, they are doing it for the same goal. They're all doing it for the common cause. When everybody they're supposed to do on that, it results. First, it's going to result in a few yards. That means they made progress. And then it's going to result in a first down, meaning that they have reached one of the goals that they set out to do. And then every so many yards, they're going to reach another goal. But the ultimate goal is to cross that goal line. But with those 11 people on that field, you can't, if you take 2 people out, or you take 3 people out of that 11, you're not going to be able to accomplish your goal, because you got 2 or 3 parts that are missing that are necessary in order to reach your goal. And that's the way the community works. That's the way we solve problems in our communities. We have to work together as a team. Everybody has a different role. I personally, I am not a community organizer. That is not my calling. That's not my strong point. That's not my forte. I'm not a community organizer. I'm not even going to venture to say that I'm a community leader, if you will. I may be called a community spokesperson, or I may be called a person who delivers necessary information to make decisions based on what's going on in your community. But that's my role. But there's somebody out there who is a community leader. There's somebody out there who plays different positions in the community that contribute to the goal that we're trying to reach, which is to stop or slow down this violence that we have. And I'm a realist. I'm not an idiot. I'm not sitting here saying that we can sit here and cut out 100% of crime, because you know, you're going to always have an idiot. You know, I hate to say that, but unfortunately we will always have an idiot that's going to do something that they ain't got no business doing. That's just a given. So, but if we all work together as a community, we can slow this thing down. We can reach those that we know. And that's the part that gets me. People know who the idiots are. People know who are the one to commit these type of crimes. People know who the people that have the mentality to where they are more than likely to commit a violent crime or some type of criminal act. People know. Even people in your family, you know who the criminal is. You know the one that's trigger happy. You know the one that's always want to fight. You know the one that's always, you know, anytime somebody say something or look at them wrong, they ready to pull a gun on somebody. You know who these people are. So your role, especially if it's in your family, if that person is in your family, your role as a member of the community and a member of the family, your role would be to try to reach that person in your family that you know is going to act a damn fool and do something stupid. You need to formulate a plan within yourself and within your family to reach that person, to where that person don't end up on Channel 3 News as the person who sitting in the back of the police car, with handcuffs on, and they saying this is the suspect that's suspected of the murder of so and so. Y'all know who they are. And unfortunately, and I wasn't even supposed to go this way on this topic, but shit, we're there now, so we gotta stay there. We have to get rid of the secrets. We have to get, and right now I done got on families now. I done got on family members who are out there committing crimes where other family members are enabling them, being their caregivers and giving them the platform to continue to do their criminal acts. We have to get rid of this secrecy that we have within our families, especially when it deals with criminal components. When it's dealing with damaging our youth, nobody wants to say anything. Their family member, there's murderers running around Pensacola right now, and a family member know who that murderer is, who in their family that murderer is, but they're not going to say anything. And I don't think I don't consider it to be snitching, and I know that the majority of the black community are snitching. You don't snitch, but I guess if that's the case, pull my black card. Cause I'm gonna tell you straight up, I ain't getting caught up in your crime. So if you want to call me a snitch, call me a snitch, but I'm not gonna get caught up in your criminal activities. And if you're a family member of mine, and I'm gonna talk on my own family. If you're a family member of mine, and if I know you have the capability of going out there and committing a murder, and I know you went out there and committed a murder, you need to be off the streets, blood or no blood. You need to be off the streets, because you're doing damage not only to yourself, you're doing it to these families. The victim's family. You're a menace. Something you held accountable for your actions. My bad. Mr. Tommy put a whole paragraph on my thing. I can't read. I can't see, but I'm gonna try to read what Mr. Tommy put on here. He said, if the message was changed, you changed the madness. There's a constant genocidal messaging being pumped into our community 24/7. Subliminally, we are being programmed to keep the violence. You name another community, maybe outside the Hispanic community, that prophecy about killing each other for sport like we do is some strong crackery at work here. And Mr. Tommy, you are dead on. You're spot on. You don't see this type of thing going on in other races, ethnicities, if you will. And I know, you know, crime takes place. Let me preface this by saying crime takes place in the proximity of where you live. So when I hate for people to label things black on black crime, white on, because nobody say white on white crime, Mexican on Mexican crime. Nobody says that. It's always black on black crime. But a criminal act is going to take place within the proximity of where you live. If you live amongst black people, most of the crimes are going to be committed by black people against black people. If you live in a white community, then most of the crimes are going to be committed by white people, and the victims are going to be other white people. Same with the Hispanics. So, with that being said, we are under a microscope. When I say we, black people are under a microscope. Anytime we make a move, it's magnified, it's talked about, because we are meeting the stereotypical expectations of the ones who want to continue to oppress us. We are meeting their stereotypical goals. We are doing the work of the white supremacists. We are doing the work of the Ku Klux Klan. We're doing the work of the neo-Nazis. We are doing the work of the white supremacists. We're doing their work for them. And they're sitting back basking in the glory, and don't even have to take, you know, they don't have to take the credit for it, but you know, they look at us like, you know, thank you. You're doing our work for us. We don't want you here anyway. So instead of us having to duck and dodge the law, let's allow them to kill themselves off. And we fall right into that stereotype. And I talk a lot about slave mentality. I talk a lot about the slave mentality. And a lot of things we do to this day is based on slavery. A lot of things that we do is based on what slave owners taught us to do. A lot of our ideas that we have are based in slavery. We have yet to come up with our own thoughts, our own values, our own opinions, and here's why I lose a lot of people at, and you know, if I lose you, I just lose you. But you guys know I'm a realist. But the slave owners instilled these values that they had of us, and we took those and we continued them on generation after generation. One of those things that we have adopted from us is dealing with the kids that I'm talking about today as far as this violence goes. We have adopted whipping, lashing, corporal punishment, if you will. We have adopted inflicting pain, physical pain on our children in order to get them to comply. In order for them to be in compliance with what we want them to do, we have adopted a mentality of inflicting pain on our kids. And the reality of the matter is, before we were stolen from our land, the children of these warriors and these you know, as we lived in Africa, in the jungles of Africa, and whatever we did, you know, the children were viewed as somewhat gods, if you will. The children were precious. Therefore, they did not lash their kids. They did not beat their kids. They did not whip their kids. They did not try to beat them into submission in our native land. However, when they came and put us in chains, and threw us in the bow of that ship and laid us on those shelves like we were canned goods and stacked us up on top of each other and put us out on that boat for months coming across that water. And we got here and they taught us by doing it to us that beating us was a way to get us to comply. Beating us was a way to get us to do what they wanted us to do. And public beatings, public hangings, public lashings, where they would, when one slave got beat, they would call all the slaves on that plantation to come to that tree where that person was either strung up from a limb or they was roped to the tree where the arms were around the tree, and they beat the hell out that slave. And they said, this is what happens to you when you don't do what I tell you to do. We adopted that. But generation after generation after generation after generation, to this day, there's a child right now that's hollering and screaming and got lashes on their back and their legs because we are still doing what the slave owners taught us to do, to get somebody to comply. And I know I'm gonna lose a lot of people on this, but it's okay. I'm still tell the truth. But we have to be our own people. We have to come up with different ways of holding our children accountable. And even I talked about this so many times on the show. If you go into a prison today, you walk in any prison across the United States of America, and you pull 100 black inmates and poll them one by one. Did your parents beat you as a child? Did your parents beat you as a child? You just go down the line and poll each one of them. You got 100 of them. I guarantee you, I promise you, out of that 100, at least 80 of them are going to tell you that, yes, my parents beat me when I was a child. And yet and still, those 80 inmates, or those 80 black men or women, are subjects of our penal system. They are in our institutions, even though they were beaten into so-called submission. So therefore, I went to public school, so my math may be slipping, but I know enough to know that 80 out of 100 is a majority, which means that those beatings did not rectify the problem. I know I'm losing some of y'all. Some of y'all looking at me like I'm a fool. Some of y'all looking at me like, I don't care what G said. I'm gonna still beat my child. I'm gonna still beat them in submission. That's up to you. That's up to each individual. And I'm not gonna necessarily judge anyone by how they raise their child or what they do with their child. I'm not here to pass judgment. I'm just here to pass facts. So we have adopted that slave mentality over the years. And we continue on with other things that the slave owners have taught us, even down to the foods that we eat. Most of the foods that black people eat, it was done because of slavery. What's up, Angela? I see Miss Angela join us on Facebook. Good to see y'all. Good to see you. But we have even adopted our diet on what the slave owners taught us and forced us to eat. What do you mean by that, Gerald? What are you talking about? Slave owners diet? We all know that, we back in our native land, we were farmers. We grew our own foods or whatever, anything that grew from the ground. by us being carnivores, we are meat eaters. So we slaughtered our animals, and we got from the best cut, so if you will, of the animal to eat, whatever the case may be. However, once we got here, once we were took captive, chained, put in the bow of that boat, and brought over the waters, and brought here to be bought and sold, we adapted the diet that the slave owners forced upon us. We had to slaughter that cow. We had to slaughter that hog. We had to slaughter that chicken, if you will. We had to slaughter these different animals. However, once we slaughtered them, the slave owners took all the good, lean cuts of meats for them, which they made the black women that worked in the kitchens prepare the best cuts of meats for them. Once they took the best cuts, what was remaining of that slaughtered animal is what they gave to the slaves. And to this day, we feast upon the remains or the parts that the slave owners threw out. Slave owners weren't eating pig feet. Slave owners weren't eating chillings, hog maw, tripe. The white man wasn't eating those foods. That was what was left over after they took the lean cuts of meat. So they gave the remains to the slaves to prepare for them. So even to this day, we have adopted that. We think that I never ate a chitlin and never will, but we have so many people that eat. If you eat chitlins, you like them. That's your thing. You do what you do. But that's part of what slavery did to us, and we adopted that, and we continue that to this day. Now, here's where I'm gonna lose a lot of people. And I know I don't have a whole lot of evangelicals that listen to me, but it's okay, because I tell the truth about things, and I say things that make you say sometimes. But we all know that Christianity did not exist in our native land. It didn't exist. Christianity was another thing that the slave owners introduced us to, and they used Christianity to oppress us. They used Christianity to keep us in line. They used that Bible to make sure that we did what they wanted us to do. It wasn't our religion. It wasn't what our native people practiced. The slave owners used the words of the Bible to make sure that we stayed oppressed. And to this day, we still practice Christianity. And again, I'm not judging anybody for practicing Christianity. But it didn't come from us. It was passed on to us by our slave owners and the people that oppressed us. You know, they beat us in the name of Jesus. They used the words of the Bible to justify strapping us up to that tree and bringing out the whips and the chains and everything else that they beat us with. They used the words of the Bible to justify it. The Christian Bible, they used those words to justify it. And then we have adopted that. I didn't study theology. I'm not a major in anything. I have a doctorate in theology. I'm not a preacher. I can't even quote 2 minute scriptures of the Bible. But I can tell you that Bible quoting Christians will tell you, spare the rod, spoil the child. One, that's not in the Bible. It doesn't say spare the rod, spoil the child. It does talk about that rod and thy staff. However, the rod that is referenced is what the sheep herders used. When the sheep herders went out to herd their sheep and to get their sheep to come back into the pastures or back into the stalls or whatnot, they would take their rod out there, that rod to guide the sheep in the direction that they need to go in. They didn't use that rod to beat their sheep. The rod was a symbol of guidance. It was a symbol of pointing their herd in the right direction, made sure that their herd, or their flock, if you will. I know we're talking about birds when we talk about flocks, but their herd, that rod was there to guide them. However, our oppressors taught us that rod meant to beat people and to beat your kids and this, that, and other. And again, we have adopted that mentality. We have adopted that mentality, and it's a lot of things that we do that just, we are still enslaved, if you will. Our mindset is enslaved because we refuse to break away from the teachings of our slave owners, because we have adopted what they have taught us and how they have taught us, and we're going to continue on doing that for generations and generations, because we've been doing it for 400 plus years now. And a 400 plus year habit is hard to break, but at least you need to know where that habit comes from. That way, next time you do something, think about where it originated from and why it originated. But I said that, and I kind of got off track, and I apologize. You know, anytime I start talking about violence, and I start talking about our kids, my bad. I'm trying to adjust my volume here. Apologies. See, back one day I'm gonna get big. I'm gonna get a staff, and I'm gonna have an engineer that can do all this stuff for me. But in the meantime, I have to engineer my own shows and make sure my sound is okay. So hopefully I'm sounding good to you guys out there. But anyway, the violence that we are seeing in our city, in our community right now is out of hand. My condolences to the family of that young man that was found killed recently, yesterday I believe it was. My condolences to the family. But you know, the reality of the situation, and it's an unfortunate situation, is that he won't be the last one. He's one of many to come, unfortunately. And until we come up with a solution or come up with a plan and implement that plan and put it in motion, we're going to continue to have these type of situations. We're going to continue to have these young people killing each other, and we're going to continue to have murderers run our streets or walk our streets because people are too scared to tell that, you know, their friend is the one that murdered this person, or their family member is the one that murdered this person, so that we can, you know, at least get some type of accountability for that particular individual. And I know, you know, it pains me for any of our youth, particularly our Black youth. It pains me to see any of them go into the prison system. It pains me. I wish it wasn't a thing. But it's a reality. And whether it's a friend of ours, a family member of ours, or acquaintance, a coworker, what have you, if that person is out there and that person is a danger to other people, knowing that they have hurt or killed someone already, we need to say something so accountability can be had. And hopefully whatever that accountability is going to be a deterrent for that person to not do that same thing again. So we have to come up with something. Have to do something about this this violence that we have. And then I was supposed to spend about 10 minutes on that, and I'm 45 minutes in, and I'm still on that same topic. But anyway, you guys get the gist of it, and it's not going to be the last time I talk about it. And we're going to continue on talking about it until we come together and put together that football team to where everybody's playing their role. You know, I'm one of the 11 on the field right now. I'm looking for 10 more people. Looking for 10 more to play their role so we can start something and get something. We can shut down and curb this violence that we have. I need individual to play a role. I need somebody who might be good in child welfare issues, might be good in counseling, somebody that might be good in tutoring, somebody that's good in public affairs, somebody that's good in community organizing, somebody that's good in information and according to law enforcement and the laws and what we can and can't do legally. Somebody who can be mentors to someone, somebody who maybe can teach a trade or something, somebody who can teach kids how to manage finances and whatnot. And if we can get a collection of people together and build a team, get somebody for spiritual guidance, whether it's Christianity, the Muslim religion, Buddhist, what have you, anyone who's going to steer a child in the right direction is going to give good advice, sound advice. And if I can assemble that team, again, I think my position is what I'm doing right now. I think this is my calling. I think this is what I am supposed to be doing. Is bringing attention to these issues. It's educating people on the issues. It's educating the people on the process of the issues. I believe that's my calling. So therefore, if I can build a team, I can bring my whole team on this show. And we can talk about every aspect of our community and every aspect of the issues that we're having, and everybody from every entity, if you will, different that's playing a different role. Everybody talk about what they can do from their perspective or what can be done from their perspective. And that way we can come up with not just a plan, but a process, a policy, a roadmap, if you will. And that way we can start making progress. But we got to have people that's willing to put in the work. And regardless of what you may see, some people may log on to Facebook or go on WPMM radio and they hear my voice and they think it's a glamorous thing. Let me tell y'all something. This what I do. It's not glamorous. This is hard work. This is hard work that I have to take time out of my everyday life or to produce shows, to develop shows, to talk to people in the community, to talk to other guests that I bring on the show, to format a show to where I'm educating you and giving you information. I have to constantly monitor the news cycle and see what's going on in our news, so that I can pass the information on to you. I have to constantly research to get information to where I'm making sure that I'm passing along the right information, stuff that's been verified, therefore, so that you're not getting information that is incorrect or based in conspiracy theories, or just based in just plain flat out lies. It's time consuming. It is absolutely depressing for me to view and keep up with as much news as I do. It depresses me. I literally get into a mindset to where I have to just kind of take a break from life, if you will. There's times I have to completely unplug just to keep my wits about myself, just to kind of regroup to where I can come back as strong or stronger than I was, because this stuff breaks me down. It is a job. It is a hard job. And the only reward in this job is that somebody is out there listening. Somebody is out there taking heed to what I'm saying. Somebody is learning something. Again, I don't know everything. Don't claim to know everything. But the little bit I do know, I'm willing to pass it along so other people will have that same knowledge. Because I get a lot of people that tell me that they appreciate what I do. And that's the satisfaction. They appreciate what I do. They listen to me because I do tell the truth. They listen to me because I do tell the reality of situations, and I tell exactly what it is, how it is. I don't pull punches with what I talk about, but I talk about things that are accurate. I talk about things that can be backed up by statistics, that can be backed up by evidence. You don't hear me talking gossip on this show. You don't hear me talking about hearsay. You don't hear me talking about mess on this show. There's other shows that do that, and that's your platform. Fine and Dan to do that. Handle your business. I'm not mad at you. But if you have a platform to where you're spewing conspiracy theories and you're putting lies out there, and you're putting misinformation out there, and people are relying on you for their information, yeah, I got a problem with that. If you're out there gossiping and you're causing issue with your gossip, yes, I got issues with that. But that's your thing. You do your thing. But gossip, hearsay, can destroy a lot of people and a lot of things. But if you go on to a platform where you have a major platform and you have people that follow you and listen to you, and you go on and you talk about gossip, and somebody told me, or I heard this and this, that, and other, and you haven't taken the time to verify that information, or make sure that information is accurate, make sure that all the actors in that scenario, whatever you're talking about, all that has been vetted, whatever. And if you just go out there and put something out there in the atmosphere and it's not true, just imagine the damage that's being done to the people you're talking about. Just imagine the damage that their whatever relationship they may be in is being damaged, because they're believing. A lot of people believe gospel. A lot of people don't even want to touch on the side of truth. They want to believe the gossip. They want to believe the mess. The messer it is, the more they want to listen. And that's just human nature. But I don't deal with I don't do that on my show, and I don't recommend other people do it. But if that's your thing, do it. I just hope that my people are smarter than that. I hope that my people are willing to do the research themselves. Because trust me, I get a lot of information that comes to me, and somebody tell me this, that, and other, whatever the case may be, and before I say a word about it, I will go and I will vet whatever they told me. I will go and I will do my research to find out if it's accurate or if it's not. before I put it out there. So that's just me, and I haven't even talked about what I want to talk about, but we're gonna save that to Thursday night. I'm gonna try my best to get on Thursday night. Miss Sophia, good to see you on here tonight. She put a comment up there. Miss Angela also put a comment. She said, "You on it, bro? You right." Miss Sophia said, "I thank you for your dedication to the issues to better Pensacola." Thank you, Miss Sophia. I really do appreciate that. I really do appreciate that, because that's my whole goal. That's my whole goal is make a better community, so that we can make a better city, so that we can make a better state, so we can make a better nation. I'm only one person. I have a small platform, and I have a small following, and hopefully one day it will grow into something bigger and better. But in the meantime, again, this is not glamorous. What I do is not glamorous. It weighs so heavily on me mentally. And I wish I could explain to you or tell you how it is behind the scenes sometimes on where I am in my mental state, because I deal with this every single day. I listen to what's going on, and I try to come up with solutions and questions or what have you based on what's going on around us. It's draining. It is draining. So, but again, I just hope that my work is not in vain. I hope that there's at least one person out there that's going to listen. If I can just reach one, my work is not in vain. Just one. And trust me, I put in a lot of time to reach that one person. So I hope you appreciate it. And thank you, Miss Sophia, for that comment. I appreciate you. Appreciate you listening. Appreciate you listening. We have come up to the top of the hour already. We've spent an hour, and I haven't even got to the other topics. But on Thursday night, I will try my best to get on Thursday night, where we're going to talk about the DEI situation in the state of Florida. The University of Florida has eliminated their DEI positions. In other words, they have fired professors or whatnot that are part of the DEI program. If you don't know what DEI is, it's diversity, equity, and inclusion. And what that basically means in a nutshell is that anything at the University of Florida right now, you cannot learn anything that deals with the history and or plight of Black people. That's the bottom line. You can't learn Black history. You can't learn what Black people did to better this country. You can't learn what happened prior to us coming to this country. And anything that deals with the culture is being defunded. You cannot do it on that college campus or whatnot. And it's all a ploy and a attempt to continue to oppress us. And this is done by dumbass DeSantis, which is the governor of Florida. We'll talk about that on Thursday night. Also, we're going to talk about the 2024 election that's coming up. November, be here before you know it. We need to get out and vote. We have to prepare ourselves. We have to educate ourselves on what we're voting for and who we're voting for. We'll talk about that. Also, I still want to talk about the State of the Union address, because I know a lot of you guys probably did not watch the State of the Union address, when we have some that did. But there was some major violations going on in that State of the Union address that normally does not take place in the House, if you will. We'll talk about that as well. Also, another thing that they're campaigning on with the Republicans is the criminal acts of undocumented immigrants, if you will. They're painting a picture that is not accurate. When I say they, the people on the right, and I can't say white people, because we got some dumbass Black folks on the right as well that are dealing with that propaganda and those talking points as well. So it's idiots on the right that's putting the information out there that's inaccurate, especially when it comes to crime, but criminal acts committed by immigrants, whether it's documented or undocumented. We'll talk about that as well. Also, yesterday, day before yesterday, I think it was yesterday, the orange idiot, who is the now presumptive nominee for the Republican Party as far as president of the United States, met with a dictator. dictator over in Hungary. He met with a dictator, and it's not the first time that he has, I almost said something vulgar, but it's not the first time that he have kissed the ass of a dictator, and that is posing a great threat to our national security. We'll talk about that as well, and because right now, once he solidifies the Republican nomination, that makes him privy to information in these security briefings. Top secret information is going to be shared with him, even though he is not in the office of the president as of yet. This happens every single time there's a change in the administration, or on every presidential vote. This happens. Whoever is the presumptive nominee of their party, once they have locked down the nomination, then the person is privy to top secret information, briefings on top secret information, so that if the powers were to change from one party to the other, the incumbent, or not the incumbent, but the new president, if you will, would be abreast as to what the national security issues are on day one once they get in office. So right now, once Trump becomes the official nominee for the Republican Party, he will have access to be briefed on top secret information, and we know he has already tried to steal top secret information, share top secret information. He is the biggest threat to our national security. We'll talk about that as well on Thursday. But I want to thank you guys for joining me tonight. It's been an hour well spent. Hope I said something that's going to make a difference in your everyday life, or just in your mindset, if you will. But we have to do better as a people, and I still have hope for my people. I want to see us make progress before I leave this earth. And I don't know, I'm getting old, so I know my days are limited, so I don't have long. So I need to see some progress quick, fast, in a hurry, and hopefully we can do that. I know my people are strong enough to where they can make that happen. So, but anyway, until Thursday, 6 o'clock on WPMM Internet Radio, Facebook Live. Until then, hope you guys have a great week, productive week, safe week. And I will see you guys on Thursday. Y'all be blessed. I'm out.